Whitney, I can't get both these bikes in the shop. They're too big.
Dude, I could have told you that.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be able to make it onto the stage, but we're not. We're going to have to go film this out on location. But I'm feeling like a coffee. You feeling like a coffee?
Let's go grab a coffee.
All right. I got one plugged in on the GS's super mega navigation screen up there. So I'll take the GS and lead out, and let's get going.
Let's do it.
Oh, don't forget the ball shaver, though.
What's with the ball shaver?
Don't worry, I'll tell you more about it later in the show. It's all right.
I don't want to touch this. That's gross.
Okay, well, I'll put it in my pocket.
Power, pedigree, technology. All these things are synonymous with flagship adventure motorcycles. The BMW R1250GS Adventure is possibly the most recognizable bike in the category, having been a cultural icon thanks to the long way round, but the GS line goes back decades to the R80GS from the mid-80s. What we have today is a modern example that we've rented off of Twisted Road, and it's fully loaded with 2 big screens, electronically adjustable suspension, a raft of rider comforts, and more. By the way, if you want to rent a motorcycle in your area, click that link down below to get started. You get 10% discount on your rental on us if you're a member of YammyNoob.co, just because we love you. Our other guest star for today is Harley's Pan America, with a lengthy lineage of 1 whole year. The Pan Am can't trade on its heritage like the Beamer can, but it has topped the American sales charts for months in a row, and it's the most accessible bike in the category for somebody who's a little bit shorter thanks to its proprietary ride height device. And let's face it, it's cheaper than the GSA, which I never thought I'd be saying about a Harley. This begs the question, did Harley really dethrone the king? There's only one way to find out. It's time to go to Starbucks. Alrighty, Whitney, we have made it to the end of the road here. This is the end of our twisty road before we go find yet another road on our adventure out to the coffee shop. But, and I'm dropping the act here because I'm a horrible actor and I have ridden both these motorcycles, we have to talk about the specs on these machines because everybody sees this as the king dick. It's a dick so big it's made up of other dicks in the ADV space.
Excuse me?
It is just the ultimate BMW dad bike here. And Harley came in and were like, no, we're the king dick now. And they were coming right for this motorcycle. This motorcycle has a 1254cc boxer engine. It's putting down 136 horsepower and 106 foot-pounds of torque. What's the Pan Am packing?
This has got a 1252cc V-twin. It's got 150 horsepower and 94 foot-pounds of torque.
So more top-end power out of the Harley, a little less torque, but honestly, between 106 and 94, there's very few differences. Yeah. Having ridden both these motorcycles, they feel very similar. What's your read on the Harley so far on the highway and around town? I mean,
this thing rips. It rips in road mode.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna put it in sport mode on our way back, but holy crap. I mean, I had fun. Not the best tires for doing 100. It did get, kind of chatty or whatever, but dude, this thing's awesome.
Yeah, and we don't actually have a sport mode on here. The BMW's done some weird stuff with the way that they run their technology. They have Enduro Pro, and then they have their dynamic mode. Then they have road and rain. Dynamic being their street sport setup.
Rich guy mode.
It's rich guy mode. It feels good. It doesn't feel as zippy as the Pan Am, and I gotta say, I'm really not a fan of the way these boxers sound. But this thing, it sounds like a biplane farting away.
I like that. Okay, as the resident BMW fan, I enjoy that sort of vintage esoteric sound.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna tell you that.
Now, we gotta talk about weight on both these motorcycles because Harley made a big deal about the weight on this motorcycle. This BMW here, with the bags, is weighing close to 600 pounds. It's 569 pounds without the bags on it, it is a portly bike, and so much of that is in the gas tank because this has like an 8-gallon gas tank. It's ridiculous. You can get like 400 miles of range out of this tank. What's the Pan Am weighing in at?
420 pounds.
Yeah, it's not weighing in at 420 pounds. It's weighing in at about 550 with the bags. Harley made a really big deal about the special, or the base model coming in under 540 pounds. The special weighs a little bit more because of the other stuff that it's got on there. And honestly, while this bike has a cooler dashboard, I think this bike has cooler tech in it, honestly. Between the two, the ride height device on the Pan America is doing some serious work here. As a shorter rider, I think you gotta love it, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I tried several times to just get that around town. I was like, it's not gonna happen.
It's part of the reason why we're not switching bikes today is because this seat height is prohibitively tall.
It's super tall, and it's someone else. We're just gonna, you know.
Yeah, I literally, guys, have this in the lowered position, and I can still barely flat foot this motorcycle in the lowered position. I have like a very ever so slight bend in my knee. When it's all the way up, I'm like tiptoeing almost. This thing, anybody can flat foot that bike.
Yeah, I like that. It's approachable. It's an approachable ADV bike, not gonna lie.
Yeah, now we've talked enough out here. It's time to get these things back out of the road, and I wanna see how they shake down on a twisty road. So we're gonna send you out on the Pan Am, get your thoughts, and then I'm gonna take the GS down, give you guys my thoughts on it. You know guys, we're out here on an adventure with both of these motorcycles, and they're flagship bikes, kind of like this flagship ball shaver from Manscapes. And you're gonna be out here on these bikes, and you don't wanna get your pube hairs all over them, so you gotta clean yourself up before you go out on the ride. You're gonna feel better, you're gonna be more comfortable, and the bike is gonna like you more. You're not gonna have to clean all the gooch juice off of it so much. The Lawnmower 4.0 has the best ball shaving capabilities out there. That's why they've made so many of these, and they keep selling them to people because they just work. It's got wireless charging, a bunch of trimmer guards. This thing's even got a light so you can shave your nuts at night. What more could you want? Click that link down below and you're automatically gonna get 20% off your order because we love you so much and we know you gotta shave your nuts. So do it, my guys. Your bikes will thank you.
Here I am on the Pan Am on a nice twisty road on this beautiful day, and I gotta say, I think this is a great bike. It handles well in the twisties, stays pretty planted, not putting a lot of emphasis on the bars, and it just kind of goes where it needs to go. It's also, what I'd like to say too, is for people who are worried about wind, it is super windy today, and this bike does not budge. It feels great going into a turn. The suspension on this bike is one of the best I've ever ridden. It's just supple. I'm not noticing every single little divot. It's not distracting in that sense. It's got plenty of power going through here. It's got plenty of power just to kind of cruise through these nice turns. So I gotta say, I love the Pan Am. It can pretty much do everything. I love how it handles. I love how it rides. I love the rider adjustable, the automatic suspension on it too. So I do dream about this bike, not gonna lie. All right, let's see how Spike feels on the GS.
All right guys, so I now have the BMW here in its dynamic mode, its sportiest mode, going down a twisty road. And I gotta say, it ain't no sport bike, but it sports okay. It will hold a line, and assuming you get some crazy body English on it and move around in the seat, you can get it to move pretty well, despite how huge it feels. The brakes are great coming into a corner. The only problem I really have with this bike is the fact that the front end feels very vague. This is a problem that I've had with it ever since I test rode it in Utah. The front end on this bike just feels really soft, and I can't tell what it's doing because it has this big cantilevered suspension like a Goldwing. I'm sure the BMW engineers can explain to me why it has that, but it just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't feel right. It could also be a combination of the fact that I'm on slightly knobbier rubber, but this rubber is extremely road biased. yeah, it can handle a dirt road fine, but I really don't like the front end feel on the BMW. However, the torque coming out of this bike is really nice. It's a torquey motorcycle. Side to side, it's not as heavy as you would think, but it's still pretty portly, I'm not gonna lie. Now, with some of my twisty road thoughts out of the way, I'm gonna get both of these bikes up on a hill climb, because while we are on our way out to a Starbucks, a coffee shop, every now and again the road gets a little bit gnarly out there, and you're gonna have to test out your skid plate. So let's see how these bikes do climbing up a rocky road.
Standing up, being a dad, going up a hill. Oh, just crushing it. That's just what it does. Easy, easy. Bada bing, bada boom. And we're at the top. The end.
Yeah, super easy on the Pan Am, right?
Oh my god, it was like bread and butter, peanut butter and jam. This kickstand can eat a butt crack though, for sure.
All right, let's see what Derek has to say about these bikes, because I'm very interested as a unlearned vehicular normie. Now, for the man in the street opinion here, I've brought in Derek, our cameraman, who does not know how to ride yet. You are desperate to get on a motorcycle from what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get your honest opinion as someone who doesn't ride. Which of these two motorcycles do you think is cooler? So, and why? So let us know and give us your thoughts.
Man, yeah, let me see here. Looking at these bikes, knowing absolutely nothing, or next to nothing, other than the little things that I've picked up from filming you guys, I would say that if I was going to go into battle, I would pick something like this, just with a large kind of industrial aesthetic to it, with like all this kind of shit hanging off of it. Honestly, I don't even really know the terms for a lot of it, but still, that's definitely got like a sleeker, kind of like slimmer, I don't know, cleaner aesthetic, I guess you could say.
Yeah, the BMW, all those crash bars there, the technical term.
Okay.
They're just big giant bars that are designed to protect the plastics when you go over.
Yeah.
And the Pan Am, you can get bigger ones because obviously it's got a little bit there. But one of the nice things I think between both of these motorcycles is how much more svelte the Harley is.
Yeah, definitely. Even when you rolled this back into the shop, everybody was just looking at it, like kicking a leg over it, like, dude, look at the size of this gas tank. This thing is just a mammoth. It's so heavy, you know? And as a person that hasn't ridden motorcycles before, right, I'm thinking, man, what would I want on the road? Definitely not something that would be impossible to pick up if I were to tip it over.
Yeah.
Right? That just seems a little bit more user-friendly, I guess you could say.
Now, you've got $25,000. Which one do you go buy?
Are these both the same price?
This one's 25, this one's 20,000.
I would personally take the $20,000 one for sure, yeah. I just like the look of that, and watching you kind of go up these hills, watching you do some of the little off-road stuff that we kind of got to do. It looked like this was a little bit more of a pain in the ass, I guess you could say. But also, I know absolutely nothing, so.
Well, there you go. There you have it, guys. We have our man in the street opinion. The GS looks cool, but it seems like the winner here is the Harley, which warms my little heart here. Now, let's finally make it to that coffee shop, because I'm getting thirsty. Now, before this video gets too much longer, we have finally made it to Starbucks. And before we get our lattes here, we need to wrap up our thoughts. Now, Whitney, give me one thing that you like about the Pan America, one thing that you don't like, and one thing that annoys you.
One thing I like the whole bike. And Harley isn't paying me anything to say that.
Yeah, they might have given us this loaner bike, guys, but we can say whatever we want.
I'm not
about the bike.
incentivized in any sense, and I'm a BMW fan.
Yes.
It's so hard to think about something I don't like. I think the only thing I could think that I don't like is like the handlebars are up a little high because my seat's down low. So that makes it kind of strange to maneuver.
Yep.
And then one thing I'm so about, was that the last thing?
Yep.
The blue, I like the orange.
Yeah, the blue is my colorway for this, but the orange is definitely, I mean, it's the original colorway. I mean,
Dude,
most
it's
people
so
look at it and see the orange, and I totally get that. But for me, the blue just like, it
This
gets me
reminds
excited.
me of like Paw Patrol or something, but I'm a mom. So I'm like, oh, it's like Cocoa Melon blue or something.
It's waterbender blue, man. Didn't you grow up with
Waterbender
Avatar?
blue?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Well, now before I nerd out too hard, I gotta give you the things that I like, the things I don't like, and my annoying thing on this bike. Things I love. This motorcycle is supremely comfortable.
Yeah.
Absolutely one of the most comfortable motorcycles you can ride. And not only that, it's a technological marvel. It's got heated seats, it's got heated grips, it's got a 144 hertz display, for God's sake. This thing is ridiculously good. It's a phenomenal motorcycle and it's worth every bit of its entry price. However, I don't like the size. It's too freaking big. This thing is gigantic.
What if you were just crushing 1,000 billion miles on it?
Then I'm okay with it, because then the size actually works to its advantage. But right now, it's too big as an off-road ADV bike. I much prefer the Pan Am size. And lastly, the thing that annoys me, and we'll get some B-roll of this, I hate the boxer engine because it bashes my shins to bits every time I ride this. I have a huge set of bruises on my right leg because I was hitting the engine guards and the cylinder head here.
Like on the road or off-roading?
Off-roading, on the road, I just keep smacking into it. It drives me insane. So that's gonna kind of round out our thoughts on these bikes specifically, but generally, do you think that Harley-Davidson was able to dethrone the king?
It is the #1 selling ADV bike in America, so...
Yeah, honestly guys, the numbers do speak for themselves here. Harley has been crushing it with the Pan Am. And personally, as a bike that you can take on and off-road and crush big miles, and I have done all of it on the Pan Am and all of it on the BMW, I'd rather reach for the keys for the Harley. I just would. It's my bike of choice, and man, if I was getting ready to drop 20 grand on a motorcycle, I'd be going to a Harley dealer, not a BMW dealer. I'm sorry, Ewan and Charlie, you chose the wrong bike, my dudes.
Cue Randy Savage. Just cue him right now, just crushing the GS.
Crushing it, brother.
Crushing it.
Well guys, that is going to wrap up our thoughts on this video. Thanks to Harley-Davidson for letting us have a Pan Am for a month. Big shout out to Twisted Road. Remember, get yourself a bike rental for a day by clicking that link down below. You get 10% off your rental just by being a member at yammynoob.co, because we love you so much. And a final shout out to Manscapes for supporting all of our silliness. Go get yourself a ball shaver. Have a good day.
Shave your
We'll
balls.
catch you later.
Shave your balls.
Keep watching Yammy Noob!